start to end. Just be honest with you, it was just a lot of shit that was going on that, internally we tried to fight through as players, and I can only imagine from the coaching staff, and with so much change from the front office. Y'all know it was a lot going on. But we, with the guys that was here, we still try to manage to make something out of it. And from that moment on, when things started to change.
Started yet, but have you already noticed kind of that reset and the difference from the chaos of last year?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. It's not nobody's fault. We all have issues internally with our jobs and everything. Sometimes you gotta learn how to pivot and maneuver through that. And I think that's just what it was. Just call it what it was. Last year it just was internally a shit show. And this time around we got a chance to make right of the runs that kind of happened.
Debo, how did you get to remove yourself from that dark cloud going into an off season and then finding optimism or at least encouragement of what's around you?
Yeah, you don't realize what you're really in until you get away from it. Sometimes when you're in a relationship, you got to get out of a relationship and realize who you are. I think for me, once the off season hit, I kind of just took some time to myself and because I'm a real optimistic person. So sometimes you may not see reality in the moment. And when I got after the season ended, I kind of just took a moment and just realized, look myself in the mirror from the standpoint of how I felt and the weight that I was carrying from a negative perspective all season that allowed me not to be myself. And I just tried to take a different approach this summer, going into this moment, even talking with the guys, working out with the guys this summer, seeing their approach, the hunger, also reading all the bullshit that media writes about us, you kind of just find a different recharge that you need to, get ready for the next challenge.
In light of that, was there, because of all those feelings and everything, was there ever a time you thought, I'm not going to be back here? Are you surprised that you're still here?
Nah, I didn't. That was never a thought. I always wanted to come back, and not once have I questioned if I would be back or not. I always just wanted to give, what I came, give the fans in this organization what I came here to do, and that's to win. And I carry a lot of that negative stuff with last year. We didn't make it, so this time around just feeling recharged, rejuvenated, and remotivated to make those things happen.
Did Doug and Scott ease any of your concerns, coming off last season going into the season?
Yeah. I talk. They know my point of view and vice versa. I know they point of view, and it was a team thing and working together and having one common goal, and that's to come in here and compete and win and put the best possible product out there to give us the best opportunity to win.
Speaking of media BS.
To the roster, coming in relatively. Would you say you're excited to get a second shot?
I'm extremely excited, man. Extremely excited. I know from my standpoint, I know from all these guys, but I worked my ass off this year. So I'm overly excited for the season. Training camp. I'm looking forward to training camp tomorrow. Preseason. I'm looking forward to every single thing this year. I think last year I didn't have that full feeling. And with me being a leader of this team, unconsciously I could have carried a lot of that into the gym. And, I could have been better from that standpoint. So I think this time around, for myself personally, I know my approach and what it will be, and carry the rest of these guys on.
So media chaos from last year. How do you see that coming?
It started this summer. A lot of us was in the gym working out. A lot of guys, most of the guys came to LA, worked out. You see Dennis go out there and lead his country to a medal, to MVP. You see guys working, and now we have that whole foundation to come in here tomorrow, start training camp the next couple of weeks, and kind of lay the foundation of who we're going to be for the rest of the season. So with that there, we already ahead of the curve than what we was last year.
Speaking of media BS outside of here, right? They don't have a very high
Yeah, hell yeah. It motivates me for sure. I hate it, you know. Yes, it motivates me for sure. I already done cussed too much today. I ain't gonna say too much, but yeah, it definitely pisses me off, and it's motivation. You know, and sometimes that's all you need. You know, and for me, that's what I need to see something like that, and you know, ride with that.
You're 17, by the way. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Is there any point where you sit there? I know you talk about your mindset, but like 17 years of age,
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And I try to explain it to like a lot of young guys now. Like, I didn't come in that league thinking, 17 years from now I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna do this. I love the game of basketball. So for me to see how far this game of basketball has brought me, where it placed me, where the things I've been able to do in my career, is nothing nobody can say, because you just don't end up here on accident, you know, or by luck. You know, you got to put in the time, you got to make the sacrifices, you got to go through everything to be able to be here and still be in a position that I'm able to be in. And I told myself I never take another day, you know, for granted. Not saying I did before, but you know, you just look up and you realize, like, 17, that's a long time. You know, to still be doing this at a high level and still be playing and still be having fun with it, and you know, playing with guys that look up to you. You got to hear stories about them saying they grew up watching me and all that. So you know, you got to enjoy it, man. You don't get the chance, and you don't last forever.
You mentioned what your last offseason was different about your what you different.
I mean, the on-the-court stuff is always cool, but it's always the other stuff that you find to push yourself and drive yourself and find a work ethic within. I'm not going to tell you what all I did. One day I'll probably talk about it, but you know, it's just trying other stuff that kind of give you that mental edge from a work ethic standpoint that makes basketball even better. You know, and I tried a lot of new things this summer that beat me down, but I got through it. I'll talk about it one day, the things that I did, but I don't want to give away the secret.
DEMAR, you're 17.
Zach alluded to the things that worked and didn't work last year as you guys kind of assembled things on the fly. What are those things in your mind, and how much can you guys benefit from having camp and a full season to kind of put everything
together? We know what to work with. You know, we know what to work with. We know what we had, you know, the middle of the season last year, things that worked, when it didn't work, why it didn't work, how it could be better. You know, having a fresh start with a foundation of things we know we could work at and things we could get better at, you know, that's great. You know, and like I said, like most of the guys that was here halfway, you know, we know what we need to do, how we need to do it. Now we have a foundation of, you know, got Doug and the coaching staff in here, we got, you know, Scott in the front office, and we know everybody's vision. So we got a clear view of what we need to do.
DEMAR, you talked about you're 17, and remember Jason Kidd morphed into a three-point shooter, not just a passer in the latter stage of his career. How do you look at morphing into something different or embracing something new in this part of your career?
I'm always with that, man. I think my whole career I've always tried to add, not even necessarily add, I always try to show more to my game year in, year out, you know, whatever that may be. You know, so if that is called for this year, you'd be the first to say it. So hopefully you got a 3-point celebration for me or something when I hit it. But yeah, but I don't mind it at all. You know, I'm with anything. I've never tried to limit myself on anything. Every single year I try to come back better at something and add something to my game for sure.
Thanks, Debo.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you.
She good. Yeah, I seen her last week. She good.